You ready for a little wake up after dark? I hope you are. Damon Bruce, Larry Krueger, and welcome. We normally do this in the morning. We thought we'd slip in for a little late night session with you because we're several days into training camp. But today was the first day in pads, and it was the first day of Ricky. Larry, you were down in Santa Clara. Thanks so much for joining us. I know you've been working hard all day. We won't take up too much of your time, but we wanted to pick your brain before we get to tomorrow. How are you, pal?
Doing good. There were, a bunch of noteworthy non-participants today. Trent Williams is still holding out. Yep. Brandon Ayuk is still holding in. Nick Bosa was given a rest day. Jake Brendel did not participate today. Spencer Burford's got a broken hand. Jacob Cowing, Isaac Guerrero, Tay Martin all have hamstring injuries. John Feliciano has a knee, and McCaffrey was given a rest day. So, and then of course, Greenlaw, Afonga, Drake Jackson on the PUP list, and Trent Williams is on the did not report list, holding out. So there you go. And yeah, we got our first look at Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall looks good. He looks good on a couple fronts. He looks good from the standpoint of he's very polished. He's a very polished player, but he also looks good from the standpoint of it really is clear when you watch him for 5 or 6 reps that Brock Purdy and him have worked together on the field, and they already have a rapport, which is pretty exciting considering it's a rapport that's born out of a very small number of field reps, but it kind of shows, when you pay attention to the small details and you want to be on the same page with a receiver or with a quarterback. These guys, it doesn't take them forever to get on the same page, and these guys already are on the same page.
You said polished. Give me some detail on that. What do you mean by polished? Just polished with quiet, confident feet, the route running, like you said, the instant karma with Purdy, as far as your naked eye can tell. Where's the polish, and why do you think he's got it so early?
Well, I mean, just so many of the things, like like head bob, a lot of the younger receivers will, when they go to gather to jump into their break at the break point, they kind of rise up because they're kind of gearing up in their mind for almost kind of like the way you gear up to dribble the ball by somebody in a basketball game.
It's like a tell. It's a tell in a poker
it's like a
game.
tell. And so guys sometimes will rise up and their head will, this guy, stays at the same level. He's smooth in and out of the break. There's no wasted steps. And then, when he gets his head turned and then he puts up those hands and, he plucks the ball with his hands. He doesn't catch it up against his pads. He doesn't get his hands around late. He doesn't turn his head late. Several of these things that are just, that's rare to see a polished receiver. But this guy has worked it. I mean, he worked it hard in college at Arizona State and Florida. He only had 5 drops in college, 5 drops. So he's worked at it, and he's done tons of time on the jugs machine. You can tell he plucks with his hands. He's a ball catcher. He's not a body catcher. So yeah, he does several things that are like, the equivalent of like a 5th year veteran, and yet he's a rookie. So, and Cowing, very similar. Cowing is another very, very polished young receiver. So they got 2 really young receivers added to their mix that was already loaded, but they're unique receivers because they're receivers that have played a lot in college. I mean, Cowing was he was Arizona or UTEP's leading receiver every year. So he's their number 1 receiver. And then Pearsall is a little underwhelming performance-wise as far as production, but I mean, it's pretty clear that he's very, very polished route runner and has really, really good ball skills.
Wake up after dark, like and subscribe. We couldn't bring it to you in the morning, so here we are at night. Since we're talking wide receivers, let's go to the wide receiver who's gotten the most amount of attention maybe than any other wide receiver in the NFL all off season. The guys who get paid, we stopped talking about them. Brandon Ayuk hasn't been paid. We haven't stopped talking about him. The holdout, the hold-in remains. And Larry, buzz around camp today is there are scouts saying the unhappiness with Ayuk is real.
Well, yeah, there's a scout that wrote for Athlons who did the breakdown of the Niners, like the annual breakdown, and said that, hey, this discontent from Ayuk is real, and that he's really unhappy. He did attend practice today. He's kind of in a weird situation. He's like standing there by himself, and he's not with his teammates. I mean, then Dante Whitner was standing next to him for a while, and Frank Gore was standing next to him for a while. Then they kind of walked away, and he's kind of standing there by himself. So, I mean, I think the hold in is still preferable to the holdout,
Sure.
but Mark Schlereth went on the radio and just ripped the hell out of him. I don't know if you saw any of that, but
I did. Stink was all over him talking about selfishness and like he understands it, but the opportunity to, he's like Ayuk's leaving money on the table by acting like this is what he basically said.
I just think that the old school guys don't respect it. They're like, you know what? If you're going to hold out, hold out. Let me see if I can find the cut. But yeah, I mean, I personally, I just feel like, there's something to that. It's like, if you're going to hold out, didn't, go all the way. Instead, it's like, I don't want to be fined. I don't want to be fined.
I guess there's a part of me that would agree with that because I'm like a stubborn old man myself, but I do think that there is something to be gained from being on premises. I know that Shanahan has been, hardly complimentary of the hold in, but I think it is better than holding out. I think it is.
Here's Schlereth. Let's hear Schlereth.
Hold on. And if you're going to be around the team, Larry, and you're just going to be, a one-man pouting party, that's no good. Here's what Mark Schlereth showed.
Here's what Schlereth, and then we'll comment. We'll see what Schlereth said, and then we'll comment.
All right. Brandon Ayuk, like what he has become, because he wasn't what he is now is not what he was originally, right? He got drafted late in the first round, I think 31 or something like that. He is a good, solid player in a really good system. But if I was ranking value of players on the San Francisco 49ers offense, so, I mean, Trent Williams notwithstanding, okay? Just if I'm not, that I won't call them the S word.
You're talking about the skill position.
Yeah,
guys.
I don't use that.
You don't use that?
The periphery players.
You hate that.
Right. The ball handlers.
If you ever, folks, want to get under Mark Schlereth's skin, two things. Ask him about his landscaping company, or ask him about skilled position players, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends.
Yeah, the most skilled position player they need to take care of him. That's Trent Williams. He's got the most skill.
Okay.
So the periphery players, the ball handlers, those guys. If you look at the ball handler dudes in San Francisco, right? There are like, where does he rank? Level of importance, where is he? Christian McCaffrey would be number one. Then I would say probably Deebo Samuel be number two. Then I would go George Kittle would be number three.
You could easily flip-flop those two, yeah.
And then I would go Brandon Ayuk, and followed probably by Kyle Juszczyk as the fullback /
All right, so someone doesn't watch an awful lot of 49ers football, but okay.
Are you and you know how I feel about the value of the value of the wide receiver position and how it's gone haywire. It's crazy, right? So, but Brandon Ayuk, understand where you are. Hey, do you deserve to get paid? Yeah, you deserve to get paid, but do you deserve to be a top 10 paid wide receiver in the National Football League? Absolutely not.
What do you make of these sit-ins? So the idea of a sit-in is that you show up so that they can't fine you.
Right.
But then you say, I'm not going to do this drill or that drill. I'm here, but I'm not fully participating.
Yeah, I think it's chicken shit. Maybe drop a set of nuts and don't show up, or show up. And if you're going to show up and you're going to be around your teammates and you're going to be in the locker room and you're going to do that, don't let them go out and do all the work and you just sit around. Yeah, either have the balls to sit out or come to camp and participate. I think the sit-in stuff is. I think it's. I don't know. It feels like it's toothless to me.
All right, we got.
What do you think?
Anything, Larry? Do we need to finish
I'd
it?
have a hard.
I think we got the gist of it there. Let me. So my first observation is Mark Schlereth does not watch a lot of 49ers football. Brandon Ayuk, I think, is the second most important guy touching the football. Christian McCaffrey being number one, Ayuk number two, then Debo, Kittle, kind of interchangeable. Then I'd go to Jennings.
Why does it even matter?
To use check. He is.
But why does it even matter?
I mean,
why does it even matter where he ranks?
Right.
What if this team had Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, but all of a sudden they had Terrell Owens and Randy Moss? Should Terrell Owens and Randy Moss not be paid like top tier receivers because they're not as good as Jerry Rice?
Right.
It's like that part of it's a little like okay. And also, has Schlereth been drinking? He sounded it's like you slurry his word.
He's coming into the thing. Look, hey, somebody gave me a nice bottle. Erwin brought me a nice bottle of Michter's to Plus Mania. So I even might start drinking before the end of the day. But like Schlereth, starting to open up with I don't like skill position. He sounds a little crusty and angry that those guys make more money than linemen right there. And if I were a lineman, I guess I'd feel the same way too.
The guys who handle the ball are the most important guys in the field.
Well, I mean, football is all blocking and tackling, and everything else just sells tickets and makes people cheer.
No,
so I wouldn't say that at all.
Dallas, you're saying Dallas wouldn't have been Dallas? They had Emmett, Irvin, and Aikman. That was Dallas. Who was their center when Stepnoski left? Nobody knows or cares because it doesn't really matter. It was like, the John Giesiks of the world, the guys who went to Sac State and played for Dallas. These guys were on Mike Kiselak, who played in the Canadian League, started for Dallas there for a while. So, I mean, you're the guys who handle the ball. If you want to change your fortunes, change the guys who handle the ball. That's the fastest way to change a football team is to change out the quarterback, the running back, the wide receivers, the tight end, the guys who handle the football. I'm not saying that the O-line's not important or the D-line's not important. I'm just saying the guys who handle the football are the real, like, what's really special about the Patriots dynasty? It was Tom Brady and Randy Moss and Wes Welker and Julian Edelman and Deion Branch and the guys who handled Gronk, the guys who touched the ball, Vinatieri. Those were the special guys.
Right.
Who were the special guys for the Niners?
No one really handles the ball without protection. I'm not. We're not.
No, I know, but I mean, like for the Niners, I mean, go back to the greatest teams. Patriots. Look at who touched it. Kansas City. Look who touches it. Dallas in the 90s. Look who touched it. Niners in the 80s. Look who touched it. I'm just saying, the guys who touch the ball make a huge impact.
Of course they do. Of course they do. But the guys who aren't touching the ball are also making a huge impact. A football team is really no better than the worst guy out there. That's sort of the beauty of the sport. That's what makes it the ultimate team sport in my mind. But, again, Schlereth comes off a little angry and a little just like he feels like he's predisposed to not like any wide receiver who was asking for money. I didn't see the Mark Schlereth fuck Nick Bosa for holding out video. We didn't get one of those. I don't think maybe there is one of those and I just didn't see it. But, this feels it's
a little old school. Get off my lawn.
Yeah, it definitely a little old school. Get off his lawn. The one thing where I will say, all right, I guess that is a more mannish way to go about it. If this is about measuring mannishness, not, an attempt to try to get something done, which to me, that's what Ayuk's hold in represents. I'm not going to be cynical and just say he's a guy trying to not get fined. I'm going to say they're trying. He would like something on premises to generate a conclusion to this long-going conversation. I would like that. I think we'd all like that. But if Schlereth says, if you're about standing on business, then go ahead and stand on business. Well, I kind of agree with that too. Like Brandon Ayuk, you want to talk about no leverage. A little bit of the leverage would be an absence, and he doesn't even have that. He won't even not be there. So weird way to go about it. The fact that he's been holding in for days now and the story is still out there that he's wildly unhappy, it doesn't feel like we're about to end this on a happy note, does it, Larry?
Well, I'm torn on this one too, because it's like I'm all for the players getting all their money. And I hate when I hear players fined for uniform violations and things like that, because they're risking paralysis. They are the product in the most popular sport that America has to offer. They do generate billions, literally billions of dollars with their sport. And I just feel like I hate seeing there's no guaranteed contracts for the most part. So many of the rank and file players are poor within 3 or 4 years after done playing. And it really bothers me. So I don't like taking the players' money, period. I just don't like it. I don't believe you should. But I do kind of agree with Schlereth in that, it's like, what are you really risking? I mean, at least a holdout, you're risking something. What are you risking if you're holding in? Nothing. You're not risking anything. You're risking nothing. You're not going to get fined because you're there, but you're not playing, and you're not getting ready to win games. So it's like you're there, but you're not really there.
It's the ultimate. If I can,
it's like a divorce. It's like something before pre-divorce. She lives in the house, and you pay for her, and but you guys never sleep together, and you hate each other.
It is,
and it's a 5-year period, and it's a pre-divorce period. It's not a divorce. It's not. It's pre-divorce. I mean, it's like, what difference does it make,
Larry? It's purgatory. You're not in heaven.
Yeah. You're not in heaven. You're not in hell.
It's not a blue sky. It's not burning hot. It's just gray, lukewarm purgatory. And that's where Brandon Ayuk lives right now. You're right. He is. He's the guy who's getting a divorce, but the wife still lives there.
She still lives there, and she doesn't make dinner, and she's kinds of complains about stuff, but she's still there, and she won't leave, and it's like, sounds like a nightmare. But she won't leave. No, but I kind of understand where Schlereth is coming from. He's a lot of get off my lawn, but I do understand that he's basically saying it's kind of weak sauce to hold in.
A little bit.
Holding in is a little weak.
Again, like, if the whole thing is you're going to the mattresses, if you're going to the mattresses, go there. If you're, this is like tiptoeing to the mattresses or tiptoeing around the mattresses. It is a little weird.
It's like a manager in baseball arguing balls and strikes from like the back corner of the dugout. And when the umpire is like, hey, you can't argue balls and strikes. He's like, hey man, I'm just down here in the back corner of the dugout.
Wasn't me
down here. Hey, it wasn't me. I'm down here. It's a little chicken-esque. It's a little chicken-esque.
Wasn't me. Like,
I think you heard Wotus. That was Wotus.
We're on both channels. A little wake up after dark, a little late night. It's great to have you here. Okay, so Pearsall discussed. Ayuk discussed. 3 interceptions from Brock Purdy today. Larry, discuss. Was it good? Look at it this way. I'm guessing they weren't good. How bad were they?
They weren't bad. They weren't bad at all. I mean, one of them, this grinds my gears because I get it. We do content and we want people to watch our content. And so what's a great way to have somebody watch your content? Tell them that the emperor has no clothes. The head coach, who's really one of the best head coaches in football, sucks and is on the hot seat, despite the fact there's no evidence that backs that or supports that. And then if that doesn't work for you, just filibuster about 3 camp interceptions from your awesome quarterback who's likely to be in the MVP conversation and is probably going to be the reason you win if you win this year. But now 3 picks in camp, it's like, oh shit, let's go to town on this.
Hey, at least Grant Cohn had something to talk about today.
Picks have there's really just categories of interceptions. There's the interception that is an awesome play. We saw that the other day. Malik Mustafa made an interception. That was an awesome play. I mean, he truly was an awesome player. He rose up in a crowd, hustled over to the sideline, ripped it with one arm over two other guys, and was just like, I'm the big dog up in this beast. And it was a man-sized pick.
It was awesome.
It was incredible. Then there's the pick that your quarterback sucks and you need to replace him. He didn't have an account for the number of defenders. He didn't count for the defender underneath. He threw late in the middle of the field to the opposing safety. You know, there's a bunch of picks that are just classic loser quarterback plays. And then there's the random, it's absolutely not on the receiver and it's absolutely not on the quarterback. And to me, he threw one of those today. He threw a ball that was tipped, that was headed towards the ground, and Fred Warner made an unbelievable diving effort and picked it off the surface. But it was a deflection. It was a deflected pass that got picked off the grass. Great play by Warner. Great deflection by whoever it was that deflected it. I forget who it was. I think I wrote it down here. Somebody deflected it. But it was a good play. It was a really good play. And then, so it was a Yadam. Isaac Yadam had the deflection, and it went right into Fred Warner's arms. So that was interception. That was one of the interceptions. Another interception was a ball that was going to Braden Willis that Lenore jumped, that Willis wasn't in the right place. Like, either stopped running the route, he just wasn't in the right place at all. And so he wasn't where Brock thought he was supposed to be. Otherwise, it would have been an easy pitch and catch. Instead, it wound up being an easy interception to Lenore. But that one was probably on Willis. And then there was one on Odom in the red zone. Purdy went 5 of 12 in the team drills today, and Odom picked one off in the red zone. Here's my bottom line. If you have a quarterback that throws lots and lots of picks, a la Daniel Jones, New York Giants, and you get into the preseason and all of a sudden there he is throwing lots of picks, be fucking worried, because you have a quarterback that throws tons of picks and he's still throwing tons of picks. That's
same as it ever was.
That's when you worry. When you don't worry is when one of them's a deflection, one of them's a receiver that stopped running, one of them's a red zone play where Brock's just trying to make a play. And you have Brock Purdy, who is proven to be 17-4 in the regular season, incredible in the playoffs. He's lost 2 playoff games. One was the Eagle game he didn't finish, and the other was to Mahomes in overtime in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to sit there and play this game, this tiresome game of the only thing that I have to generate off my channel is angst. And so I'm going with the angst. And I'm not saying that there's that every interception that anybody throws is not worthy of analysis or breakdown. But let's just stop pretending that Brock Purdy sucks, because he's great. And the reality is he's great. He's going to have a terrific year. He's probably going to be right in the midst of the MVP race. And if they win the Super Bowl, he's probably going to be the reason why. So to me, if yes, did he throw 3 picks today? Yes. Is it noteworthy? Sure. But if you said, is it something? Is it, big deals, little deal, no deal? To me, it's no deal. It's not even little.
There you
deal.
go. So look, first day in pads, which means it's kind of the first day to take a look at what's happening on the line of scrimmage, because without pads, trying to evaluate anything on the line of scrimmage is basically useless. What you see, who popped, who flashed. Let's start offensive line. Without Brendel in there, I'm guessing Pooney's getting an awful lot of opportunity. I know you're always looking for rookie, what you can see in a rookie. How did Pooney look?
He looks like a guy who could start as a rookie at right guard. But I'll tell you, there's also some other developments going on here that I think people need to take note of. One of them is there's an awful lot of guys who can play center in this camp. I mean, if I'm Jake Brendel making $5 million, I wouldn't be feeling too good right now. Why? Because on my left, I've got John Feliciano. On my right, I've got Ben Barch. They both can play center. I'm looking at Dominic Pooney. He can play center. I'm looking at Drake Nugent. He can play center. I'm looking at Bryson Mays. He can play center. I'm looking at Jarrett Kingston. He's playing tackle right now, but he can play center. And guess who got reps today with the center on the first team at times was Nick Zakelj, who's Brock Purdy's best man in his wedding. What you think, Nick? You think Nick Zakelj's got a chance to make the roster? I would say he does. I would say he absolutely does. And you know what? Nick Zakelj's a good player. He's smart. He's tough. He's huge. He's 6'6", 320. He's smart as hell, and he's tough. So, and he's Brock Purdy's roommate. So guess what? And
a guy
he's going to get some run at guard and center.
He went to Fordham, right? So
yeah.
It makes sense for a guy who goes to Fordham to need an NFL kind of redshirt year, and he got one. So we'll see. He's a great prospect, Damon, and turn into it. So let's see that. But I'm glad to hear that they've got some options at center, and it was good to hear that Pooney had a good first day in pads defensively.
And Kingston, by the way, needs to be mentioned here, Damon. Kingston is getting run at right tackle, and he looks good. Jarrett Kingston, a 5th or 6th round pick out of USC, looks good, and he's getting reps at right tackle. So you got Barch playing center, you got Zakelj playing center, you got Burford out probably a month. So now you got Feliciano probably competing with Pooney for the right guard spot. But don't be shocked if either Barch or Nugent or Zakelj or one of these guys either makes the team as the backup to Brendel or possibly even winds up pushing Brendel off the roster. I know Brendel's a favorite, but Brendel makes $5 million and change, and these other guys make quite a bit less, and you're going to be paying Purdy a lot of money, maybe $65 million a year. So, $5 million center who's not particularly better than your backups might be a luxury they can't afford. So that's going to be something to watch.
Defensively, Drake Jackson's not going to participate again in training camp. Is that the word?
Yeah. Yeah, they're saying he's got the same kind of knee issue that Weston Richburg had that pretty much ended Richburg's career. So,
man, look, I think you and I both want to give Drake Jackson benefit of the doubt. He's flashed a couple of times. Unfortunately, those flashes are far and few between. Doesn't sound like he's going to have a very long NFL career.
Well, no, it doesn't. And, this one bothers me because I really love this guy. He's a tremendous guy. He's one of my favorite guys on the whole team to talk to, and he's just a really cool guy. And I wish he could get it together. But unfortunately, Damon, and you and I have talked about this, the Niners are going to go with 10 defensive linemen. They're probably going to go with 5 defensive tackles and 5 defensive ends. Well, the first 3 defensive ends are Bosa, Floyd, and Yatir Gross-Matos. Those guys are set. But they were banking that Drake Jackson and Robert Beal were going to be DN 4 and 5. And if Jackson's already out for the rest of camp, they're already in a position they were in last year where they were kind of looking for guys off the street like Taco Charlton and just signing guys. They may have to do that. They may have to trade for somebody. They may have to get aggressive here because, like, right now, their defensive end 4 and 5 is Robert Beal and probably Austin Bryant. And they haven't even played any games. They have no injuries at all. I mean, they're going to have to play 3 preseason games. The odds are that 1 or 2 of these guys is going to get hurt, and you're going to be looking at real, backup caliber guys. So, and Shanahan said it today. I couldn't believe he said this today. Today he said he was asked about the defensive end depth. And he's like, hey, I like the defensive line depth that we had coming into camp, and we're 5 practices in, and I still like our defensive line depth. But, I mean, once he peruses that depth chart a little bit closer and sees that Jackson's out for the year and, Bosa is being babied because it's, July, he's going to realize that they are not very far away from, an Alex Barrett, Robert Beal edge combination.
Wait a minute. Wait. You just said that Jackson was out for the year. You mean training camp or the year?
Well, he's out for the rest of camp. But Damon, he had the surgery in October. So if he was going to be rehabbed and playing, he's had plenty of time to rehab and get back. The fact that it's still bothering him means that all bets are off for Drake Jackson.
We know that Christian McCaffrey is, prom king. Man is the sharpest knife in the drawer in terms of 49ers weaponry. But the buzz today was that Jordan Mason had himself a good day at camp and is really sort of elevating himself in the eyes of, if not Shanahan, the overall depth chart. Good day for Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason, we all said this day was coming, keep the faith, young man, and Shanahan seems like he's finally seen enough to say, hey, you know what, this guy needs some run. The guy is in awesome shape, Damon. The guy's in awesome shape. I mean, he was in good shape last year. He's in better shape now. Small, tight waist, really, really ripped abs, really, really powerful legs. I mean, this guy is absolutely in peak condition, and he's ready to roll. And they love Elijah Mitchell, and they obviously have Garendo, and they have Cody Schrader. But I think they're gonna give JP Mason more run this year. Finally.
Well, again, it's got to be somebody other than just a billion touches for Christian McCaffrey, just a few for everyone else. Like they need more than just Jordan Mason. They do.
They have all the backs they need. They got all the backs they need.
This is something that you and I talked about an awful lot last regular season, and I feel like it's one of those Kyle got lost in the sauce of loving everything that McCaffrey gave him, and he didn't look for an awful lot of production anywhere else. And what I thought was a deep backfield. I know you agree with that. Hopefully this is the year where Kyle, distributes touches and gets McCaffrey off the field in games that field decided or in a safe distance on the scoreboard. Him being healthy at the end of the year is the entire year. There are a few guys who are non-negotiables in terms of health. You're just talking about defensive line depth. So I'm going to put Nick Bosa right on the top of that list. Obviously, any team in football losing its starting quarterback, c'est la vie. McCaffrey is, I think, as important to the 49ers as any player in football is to their team. So he's on that just cannot get hurt list. And to make sure that happens, I do. I want to see Shanahan explore the depth of his running back room an awful lot this year.
They got plenty of backs. And yeah, they got to get to the finish line with a fresh McCaffrey. They almost did last year, but he wasn't quite fresh. They need to do more to keep him fresh. The one other interesting thing that happened today happened this week in the first week is that Garendo badly pulled his hammy.
I was going to ask what the follow-up was for that. How'd the MRI read?
Well, it sounds like he's going to miss a month. And he's on the PUP list. See, he showed up. So if he had been hurt, away from the facility, then they could have put him on the NFI list. They could have left him on the NFI list like they did with Luter until he was ready to play, and then just activated him, and that would have been it. You wouldn't have to put him on the 53, so on and so forth.
So you got to stay on the PUP list for 6 weeks, right?
So now he's on the PUP list. Now he's got to make the roster. He's got to be on the final 53, and then you can take him and put him on like an IR situation for the year, and put some veteran, maybe a Trent Taylor, some veteran you don't think is going to get claimed in waivers. You could waive him and re-sign him, something like that. But there's a very good chance that Isaac Garendo could wind up having to redshirt this year because he's on the PUP list, won't be ready. Maybe they won't want to put him through waivers, and there's a chance that they just put him on season-ending IR at the cutdown and just relinquish his rookie years. So there's a chance. I mean, then we'll see. I know they love Garendo and they love the potential there, But if Cody Schrader has a huge camp, if they go through this camp uninjured at running back, and you're still looking at CMC and Mason and Mitchell and Juszczyk and Patrick Taylor, who also has looked really, really good. And all of a sudden you've got all these extra backs and Guerrero is hurt. You may see them redshirt him. I would not be surprised by that.
Again, I really don't know where his playing time was coming from if he were completely healthy. I mean, he's, not going to be used at running back when you got such a deep running back room. You don't pay Kyle Juszczyk that type of money to give fullback snaps to anyone else. Maybe he would have been used in a return game, but beyond that, unfortunate, but I don't think it affects the season in any way, shape, or form. I don't think Guerrero was the cherry on top of anything.
Guerrero in brief, highlights already has looked amazing. There was one play where Purdy flipped it to him in the flat. He made one guy miss and he bolted down the sideline. And it was like, wow, look at this. I mean, if you can throw this guy, but passes in the flat and he's got, singular coverage and he's just got one guy to sidestep and he's got 4.3 speed and he's close to 230 pounds. That's something they don't have right now. You know what I mean? It's not like just put the other guy who's that big and that fat. They don't have this piece. So it's like when he can get on the field and eventually contribute for them, potentially what he gives them is something that no other player on their entire roster gives them. That's to me, what's so exciting about the Niners is that they have all these awesome weapons. And then if you go position by position, they're deeper now. They had great running backs last year. Now they've got all those guys back, but they've added Cody Schrader and they've added Isaac Guerrero. They had really good receivers, but now they've added Jacob Cowing and Ricky Pearsall. They had really good tight ends. Now they've added Mason Pline. And Mason Pline made an incredible catch today on the sideline on a ball from Dobbs. Dobbs had Pline going on the sideline. He threw it up to him, and he caught it in a crowd and then raced down the sideline for the touch. So Pline looked really good today. You were asking before who looked good. He looked good.
Good reps, put it on tape, let the coaches look at it. So, again, pads are on. Pads go on. Competition starts to rise. In terms of the best competition you watched today, either between two guys fighting for one spot or two guys going up against each other, what stood out to you, Larry, first day in pads, competition-wise? Where was the best competition in camp?
The best competition in camp. Well, I'll say, I think the linebacker competition is going to be really good. I mean, obviously Greenlaw's on the PUP list and Warner's going to start and Campbell's going to be probably the starter opposite him. And they're probably going to go to a lot of 5-2 looks on the front. So you're going to see a lot of Warner, a lot of Campbell. When they go three linebackers thus far in this camp, they've been playing Curtis Robinson as that third linebacker. And a little bit today, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles and a little bit of Ezekiel Turner. But Jalen Graham made a couple plays today that were just freaking awesome. I mean, Jalen Graham is a great young player. I mean, there's just no question about it. He's a 7th-round pick last year. He's got good instincts.
Last year. Last year was his redshirt year.
Totally. Last year was his redshirt year. There's just so much to like about him. He's a great kid. He's from Detroit. Really respectful. Went to Purdue. Hardworking kid. Kind of a hybrid safety linebacker player at Purdue. Works hard. Great attitude. Smile on his face every day. I always give him crap because the guy eats a ton at his locker. I mean, the guy's polishing off meal after meal after meal at his locker. But he's a huge talent. And I know Fred Warner was talking up D. Winters, and I know Nick Sorensen has talked up Devondre Campbell. There are even people that think highly of Tatum Bethune. To me, Jalen Graham is the next great Niner linebacker. I think he's going to be the guy. I think if they really do evaluate this fairly,
we're going to mark the tape on this one, Larry. Right, the next great linebacker,
the next great Niner linebacker. I mean, like right now, it's Devondre Campbell next to Warner, but I think Graham eventually is going to take that job.
Greenlaw, Graham. That's the list.
He's a great player. He's a great player.
I like it.
I know these guys are in a different category than him, but you know what?
Right.
He's a terrific player, and I think he's going to show it this year.
Hey, look, it's time to get excited. Football feels like it's around the corner, and in many ways, it really is. We're going to be in a preseason game against the Tennessee Titans in a few days.
Yeah,
under 10 days, right? I mean, this is coming up soon. So
it's coming up soon.
Yeah. And here we go. That's why we needed to come to you tonight to give you a wake up after dark. Again, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for hanging out. It is good to have you here. Like and subscribe to both channels. Wake Up is going to be a big show all season long. I'm going to be doing post game. Larry's going to be doing post game. Hit notify so you miss nothing from either Damon Bruce Plus or the Krug Show. And that's it. You were at camp today. I wasn't. Anything else? Is there anything else the audience needs to know before we talk just a teeny tiny little bit of Giants who made a trade of the one guy that they actually had his signature on a contract that didn't include a whole bunch of opt-outs, and he's the guy who got traded? Okay.
Well, I would say there's a couple things at camp that are starting to stand out.
The Niners.
A couple of camp things that are standing out. One, the tight end today was a very good day for the tight end position. You have Kittle, you have Logan Thomas, the veteran, running around in this camp. Braden Willis has flashed ability. Cam Latu made a catch and a run after the catch down the sideline today that made you go, whoa. I don't remember seeing that. I mean, he's big and fast. So he's got talent. And then I told you Mason Pline had a great catch and run down the sideline. So between Latu, Pline, Willis, Logan Thomas, I mean, it was a good day. It was a good day for the tight end group for sure. And then on the other side of the ball, I mean, the Niners have really the best depth of corner at corner that I've seen them have in a long time, maybe ever. I mean, you typically keep 5. They've got Mooney, Lenore. I think Yadam is establishing himself as the third corner. Like he's going to play the outside corner spot with Lenore in the slot with the ones. So Yadam, Lenore, and Mooney, your top 3. But then you got Womack, who looks great. Renardo Green, who had a tremendous practice today. He broke up 3 or 4 passes, and you can just tell.
It feels like he is the rookie who's playing well that no one's really talking about.
Well, because he's not a thumper. He's more of a pest, and he's more of a real. He's not a practice guy. He's a game guy. But Ambry Thomas is athletic as hell. Darrell Luter, Rock Ya-Sin has looked good. I mean, they got a bunch of corners. They're probably only going to be able to keep 5 or 6. They got about 8, and that's a great spot to be in. So really love what they look like on the back end. I mean, and the other thing is between Hufanga, Mustafa, and Jair Brown, you got 3 really, really good young safeties. So between those 3 young safeties and all these young corners and all those corners they got for the most part are 28 or younger. Most of them are 25 or younger. They just got great talent in the secondary. So, and it's starting to show up when you have this many guys who can play, and then you look up and you're like, whoa, this is a pretty good group. So yeah, the young secondary, very, very impressive. The young O-linemen are impressive. And we didn't see, Cowing looked great before he went down earlier this week with the hamstring, but some of those young receivers are looking pretty good too.
That's good. Good day at camp, Larry.
Good day. Good day at camp for sure.
Look at you getting it all done. So are you going to be at camp the rest of this week, or are we going to be doing a Monday morning wake up? We're going to go after
we're going to go Friday. We'll have our regular wake up.
Okay.
Because Friday's an off day. So we'll do a Friday wake up for sure.
Wednesday?
Wednesday, I've got a 10 a.m. meeting in the city.
Oh, okay.
So I can't go Wednesday. Well, normally I'd go Wednesday, but also my buddy, can you believe this? My buddy's getting married Wednesday. Who gets married on a Wednesday?
Somebody who's saving money on those wedding bookings.
Getting married on a Wednesday. Tomorrow night, we're going to his bachelor party at the Giants game.
I was about to say, so you're going to go to a strip club on a Tuesday?
I'm going to a Tuesday night Giants game, with a lot of my college buddies, and then Wednesday night
That's not. Now, did you, since it's the big bachelor party, do you splurge on some good seats, or you just bleacher it or view level? Where are you sitting tomorrow?
The seat was given to me,
so you're sitting where?
I'm not. Let me see. It's in my phone. I'm not sure. Where
you
we're
better
sitting.
not disclose your location, Larry. You're going to get mobbed.
Come meet me at my seats. Kev's coming with me.
Nice.
Kev's going to come with me.
Hey, you're going to be taking in the second to last game ever. The Oakland A's will play in San Francisco. And you're going to be taking in the first game this year, to not include Jorge Soler not driving in runs. Larry, that is the news that broke a little earlier this evening. Soler has been traded to the Braves. First thing I want to know is, are the Braves taking all of his money, or the Giants paying a little bit of the freight on that?
The Braves are paying the freight.
Okay. Luke Jackson also back to Atlanta. So two guys who were big pieces on the 2001 Braves title team are out of San Francisco and back on Atlanta. We don't know. Have you seen the return? I haven't seen the return yet.
No, let me see if I can check this real quick. See if I can get this for you guys.
I love the trade. Okay, if they got Acuna, let me tell you, that's a good deal.
Yeah, well, he's out for the year.
I know, but I'd still take him.
Let's see. Braves acquire Jorge Soler. The Giants relieve lefty Tyler Matzik and minor league infielder Sabin Sabalos in the trade. The deal is done. There's no cash changing hands. Atlanta gets Luke Jackson in the deal as well. Tyler Matzik. Wasn't Tyler Matzik a first-round draft choice?
The name sounds pretty damn familiar.
He was. Yeah, he was the Rockies' first-round draft choice, 11th pick overall in the 2009 draft at a Capistrano Valley High School in Mission Viejo.
All right,
so he's a 6'3" lefty.
Leaguer.
Tyler Matzik. He came up with the Rockies in 2014 at 23, and he is 16-21 career with a 3.72 ERA, 285 innings pitched, 246 hits, 272 Ks. So yeah, I mean Tyler Matzik and who did I say this other guy was? Sabin Sabalos. That's a great name. That is a great name. Sabin Sabalos. You remember Club Sed, right?
Cedric Sabalos?
Cedric Sabalos.
Sure.
Who was famous for calling a sports talk show from the back seat of a car that he was in at Lake Havasu. He left the Lakers or the Suns or whatever to go on spring break. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
And then he called like Rome or JT the Brick or somebody. It was some major national show, and he was in the back seat of a car down at Lake Havasu. He's like, "Yeah, I'm down here at Havasu." They're like, "Well, your team played last night, bro. Are you coming back?" He said, "I'll be back on Monday." Oh,
hey,
awesome.
when you need a break, Larry, you gotta take a little mental inventory and take that break. So I hope Cedric Sabalos had a very nice
so Atlanta Braves third base prospect Sabin Sabalos is an Oregon product, and he was in the A-ball. He's considered the 17th best prospect in the Braves system and remains several seasons away from his major league debut. But wait, so this was written when?
So the Giants traded
Jorge Soler, who won an MVP in the postseason for Atlanta, so they love him.
They went ahead and they traded two guys for the salary dump. They're trying to get under the tax, And that's what this trade is. It doesn't sound like they've got anything of massive value coming back, big return. But you were going
Susan Slusser says they're not going to sell anymore either, which is just ridiculous. You have Blake Snell. You have the Orioles wanting Blake Snell. They have a catcher who's an amazing player who's blocked by Adley Rutschman, and he's a great hitter who can play first and catch. His name's Samuel Basallo, and he's a 19-year-old catcher from the DR who's already ripping in Double-A. And it's like, trade them Blake Snell and Camilo Doval and get a great young hitter that's going to be part of your future. How fucking difficult is this? Farhan, how many years can Farhan Zaidi have a very attractive tradable asset that he does not trade? He didn't trade Bumgarner. He didn't trade Carlos Rodon. He gets these guys. He has these guys that could easily be traded, and then he doesn't trade them. The rebuild takes forever.
And the guy, if you don't make a lot of trades, then you better be either crushing it with basically picking who you want from a free agent class, or have a farm system that is as robust as any farm system in baseball. The only way the Giants can really acquire young talent is through trades, it seems. And Farhan, Larry, he is trying to have it both ways. And I think we both agree.
He's going to promote Luciano and DH him.
He's not terrible at the job. Farhan is not awful at the job, but he's terrible at dealing with people. He's terrible at gauging the talent on his own team. You got Fitzgerald raking since the All-Star break. Where was he before the All-Star break? What's
the story of the year? The story of the year is Elliot Ramos. He wouldn't even be up if it wasn't for a Slater injury in May. He wouldn't have even been in the majors.
Wouldn't have 70 at-bats if it were up to Farhan's devices. Right. Beyond all that, the reason why he's no longer the right guy for the job is because I really think that Farhan's number one goal for this year is to now remain employed. If the number one goal was to really improve the prospects of the Giants winning a championship, if that is still the goal, then being a seller in this deadline, I feel would be the right way to go. People want to call me a pessimist.
You have a lot to sell too.
Yeah. I think you got assets that will be opting out, which means they're not going to have nearly the value to you unless they're going to be playing next year, which I don't think a lot of these guys are.
Blake Snell's the hottest arm in the game.
I think
you could get a ton for Blake Snell right now.
Farhan just wants to go to the postseason so he can say that he went back, and not that, you've been to one postseason in 8 years, 7 years. How long's the guy been on the job?
This is year 7.
Okay. Yeah. One postseason in 7 years probably gets you fired faster than 2 postseasons in 7 years, especially with the second one being the season they just had. So I think that's Farhan's goal, keeping his job, because bettering the San Francisco Giants doesn't seem to be what he's really trying to do here. Solar finally settled into a little bit of a role. He was pretty good at the top of the lineup, which is kind of out of order for him, but it was sort of working. You got a 4-game winning streak, and now you trade him, yet you remain on the balance beam of, we're not a seller, we're not a buyer, we're just trying to make it's
supposedly the Yankees and Mets and Padres are all knocking on the door for Snell
and Chapman.
Trade Blake Snell for a big time player. My God.
He's opting out at the end of the year.
Even if he isn't opting out, you don't want him. This guy walks too many. He makes too much money. He doesn't bring. He didn't go to spring training. Had a terrible first half. Turn him into a piece that can be a foundation piece for your team going forward. That's what Blake Snell. That's what signing Blake Snell meant, should have meant for the Giants this year. The Giants, if they really felt like they were going to the playoffs this year, they were totally delusional. Why? Because you based on the team that you have, you really think you can't hit it all.
Well, here's the thing, Larry. They might have gone to the playoffs if they followed the same formula that the 107 win team did. Everybody have your best year at the same time and nobody get hurt. Yeah. And unfortunately for the Giants, it's not even a matter of injury. It's just nobody's having a particularly good year. So here we are, outside of Ramos, again, the guy who wouldn't even be here if the GM had really had his way. It's just, the Giants.
All you got to do is keep building. I mean, the Giants' situation here should be very basic. You don't know if you're going to be in it or not, so just keep building. No rentals, no prospects for rentals, no prospects for anybody who's a free agent. That's for damn sure. And if you can sell 3 or 4 or 5 pieces off of your team that you can get a prospect for that can be part of your team in 2025, to me, it's like build towards 2025, and you've got right now between Harrison, who looks good, the baby-faced righty they've got, Birdsong looks good. You got Wisenhunt, who's got just a nasty fastball changeup combination coming. You got a couple other arms besides that. You even have pieces that you could trade. They're not that far away, but they've got to start building, keep building. They get into this mode of like, are we in it? Are we trying to buy to go to the playoffs, or are we selling because we're in some eternal rebuild? Well, you can accelerate your rebuild if you can make a couple of astute moves. And I guess I kind of question whether or not Farhan Zaidi is the guy at this juncture to be allowed to make these moves, because as you said, this is year 7. They haven't had a lot of success, but overall, I think it's time for them to do a combination. A little bit of buying, a little bit of selling. If you're buying anybody, it needs to be guys that have cost controllable years on the contract. Guys that aren't free agents until after 2026, so that you have all the rest of 2024, all of 2025, all of 2026, and then the guys can walk. That's the kind of player you need to acquire. Somebody who's controllable.
Yeah. No, it's the Giants are a team that only moves in centimeters. It's a centimeter forward, it's a centimeter back, it's a couple centimeters forward, it's a few centimeters back. There is no definitive one way or the other, and that's why they have been caught in the middle. That's why
they're always message sending. Have you noticed that too? They're always sending messages. Stop sending messages and start doing something. The loudest message is the message that you send your fans by winning or losing. And you've sent them a loud losing message for a long time. Stop worrying about what you're labeling the year and just worry about building a team. And it doesn't take a month to build a World Series team. It takes years. You know what? Keep building a team. That's what I would say. Just don't, I would look to sell more than buy, but I'd be looking to buy too. If I could find a bargain, if I could find a good deal, somebody's willing. Like, as I said, the Orioles have Adley Rutschman behind the plate. He's essentially their catcher's version of Will Clark. He ain't going anywhere for the next decade. They also have Samuel Basallo, who's in Double-A at 19, who's a left-handed hitting, absolute sweet swinging Venezuelan or Dominican Republic, line drive hitter. Looks like a guy who's going to hit 320 and pound out 50 doubles and be your first baseman or DH or catcher for the next decade. Well, you got Bailey, but put him at first or put him at DH.
Yeah, so you can DH him, you can move him to a corner.
Right. But that's the kind of piece you need. You need to keep adding significant middle of the order bats. You do not have, when you're hitting, the Giants signed Jorge Soler. The Braves had him a couple years ago. He hit bottom of the lineup and at the top of the lineup. The Giants were hitting him like third and fourth.
Right.
They do this all the time. They make the same mistake all the time.
Well, look, Wilmer Flores, hits third or fourth for them, and that's who they are. And if Wilmer Flores is your, 3-deck or cleanup hitter, you're on the fast track to nowhere. You really are. And I kind of like Wilmer Flores. Like, I still feel
hit.
like he's among the
rakes lefties.
problems. Yeah. So I don't have a problem with him. But no, the Giants are just, they're fooling themselves with who they are, where they actually stand in baseball. And I understand that the haves and have-nots feel like they're getting, more bunched up in the middle. But really, it's not that the Giants are making progress. It's just the wild card has been expanded to include the galactically average. And that's what they remain. Even though they are, I think I saw, 3.5 games out of the final wild card spot. That 3.5 games out, I have to leapfrog like 5 other teams in those 3.5 games. And don't let that wild card fool you. And don't let success of wild card teams in the postseason fool you. That's not who they are. They're not. The only reason why they're in the conversation is because the conversation has been lowered. The standard of the conversation has been lowered, and that's why they're in it. Not because they're a real competitor.
They have never been more than 2 games over 500 all year. They have not been 500 since late May. It's almost August. I mean, what are we talking about? There's 13 teams in the National League. They're the 11th best team. I mean, they don't belong in the playoffs.
Larry,
there's no other way to say it.
Here you go. Here's all you need to know about the Giants. They fancy themselves a contender, but on the night of the trade deadline, they traded their leadoff guy and an important bullpen arm. Go get him, boys.
Well, Baggerly, who's, whatever, he says, my understanding of the Giants Soler trade, they're not in full sell mode. They plan to call up Marco Luciano and use him at DH, along with Conforto and Flores when healthy. They're now looking for a defensive upgrade in center field so they can slide Ramos to a corner. What about Luis Matos? Well, I know Matos is not great defensively, I guess, either.
Well, here's the thing.
You got Jung-Hoo Lee. You got Jung-Hoo Lee in the future.
Had you not signed Soler in the first place, the hole that you needed to create would have been there the entire season to finally get some of these kids the 450 major league at-bats they need so you can make an actual evaluation on them. So, again, Farhan is now opening a path to playing after he built a brick wall in front of one of his minor leaguers to not play him. So you don't get credit for opening the path to more at-bats when you're the one who blocked it in the first place.
I mean, I want to see him make some real trades. He's made a lot of trades, but they've all been lame.
They're just
I want to see a real trade. I want to see real trades with real major leaguers being traded for other real major leaguers.
Right.
I want to see an actual trade.
Hold the fire alarm. There is a sale going on. You seen?
Go get Vladdy.
Yes. Now, the Mets turn theirs kind of year around a little bit. So maybe, Alonso's not on. Go get Vladdy. There's a fire sale. But again, if they're not doing anything, if Susan Slessor's already been given the mandate by the franchise, Susan, let everybody know that they shouldn't have any expectations for tomorrow.
Yeah, what is she doing at this point? But here's the other one. The Yankees have a prospect in their farm system.
She's reporting the truth.
Jason Dominguez.
They're telling her.
But how shameless is that? Whatever. I'm not going to rip her, but whatever. The Yankees have this prospect they call the Martian. His nickname's the Martian. His name's Jason Dominguez, and he's 240-pound power hitting.
They're not trading him though. I mean,
he's
like
amazing.
He's
amazing. But here's the thing: the Giants do have 3 or 4 pieces. Like the Yankees need right now, a third baseman. Giants have Chapman, an ace. The Giants have Snell, a reliever. The Giants have Doval, a second baseman potentially if they don't play Jazz Chisholm there. The Giants have Tyro Estrada, who used to be a Yankee. I mean, they have 3 or 4 pieces that are really, really, really attractive. Now, the Yankees have 2 big-time outfielders. They have that guy, the Martian, Jason Dominguez. And then they also have Spencer Jones, who's like 6'6", 230, but he has like 4.3 speed. And he played in the Futures game, and he's probably a year or 2 away. He's not ready right now. But But both of those outfielders are premier big time outfielders. And it's like the Giants have the pieces to get to get Dominguez out of New York. There's a lot of pressure on them to, go to the playoffs. And if the Giants gave them, that's a lot. Doval, Chapman, and Snell. Damn right, the player coming back is going to be good. So that's the guy that I would try to go for. If I were the Giants and they could somehow get Jason Dominguez by trading 3 or 4 players to the Yankees, that is the guy that could, when the Giants come to town, it's bye-bye, baby. And this could be the 40 home run guy that could be he could be the foundation piece in their lineup for the next decade if they could figure out a way to make that trade. Now, some people think he's available. Other people think he's not available. The Yankees have hoarded him up to this point, but there's a lot of pressure on them to fill their holes, and they got a few holes. And it just so happens that the things that they need are things that the Giants could potentially solve for them. And there's been a lot of speculation in the last 10 days that that the Yankees have been scouting the Giants heavily. So
I do know this, Larry, your ventriloquism classes are paying off wonderfully. We can't see your mouth move at all. You haven't blinked in such a you're done with your ventriloquism lesson.
There we go.
I thought for a minute there you were really just taking
the
it.
Screen froze. The screen froze. Anyway. Sorry. When I move off the screen for any period of time, if I don't come back, it will freeze on me.
Well, you got to put more motion into your, give people a visual presentation. Bob your head, Larry. Keep your head on a swivel. Hey,
so people love my Larry Bear running up 2nd Street. Turn it off. Turn him off.
Hey, man, it was fun having you come on out to Plus Mania. Thanks for coming out on Sunday. A lot of people were excited to see you. A lot of people love us working together, man. So that was an awful lot of fun. Thanks to the Dubliner. They gave me this really nice T-shirt at the end of the night here, Larry. So I'm rocking my Dubliner T-shirt. Have been all day. And long day for me, even longer day for you. So go put your head on a pillow and rest up. You got another day of training camp. So we'll be watching the Krug Show for any and all updates. Again, I go down, I cover practice 1 or 2 times a year. I'm not a big practice guy, but I might make it down there before the end of the year, before it's all said and done in training camp again. But in the meantime, just keep it on the Krug Show and you'll know everything that happened at camp. Thank you very much, Larry, for the update tonight. Good stuff all around. And there it is.
We've got some supers here. We got some starred chats.
I haven't even looked in the chat all night. What's going on?
We got some spicy people in the chat tonight. Let's see. Dan Serrano says, make sure to subscribe to Damon's channel.
Thank you, Dan.
There you go. Somebody asking the age-old question. There you go. There you go. The age-old question. All right, here we go. We got a couple supers and couple that I just put on the side. Here we go. Mike Baker says, thanks for going to camp for us, Larry. Mike, I love going to camp, and I would do it even if I wasn't doing it for you. I would go anyway. But you know what? You're welcome, and I'm glad that I could be your eyes and ears.
Man's a Samuel chart junkie. You can't get
Samuel
enough.
Rosario says, Larry, Susan Slusser said the Giants aren't selling after Soler. Luciano will play the rest of the year as the DH. So right. Luciano, once again, it's like they watch him make 2 errors, and it's like, oh my God, he's got to go. We can't watch this. Butthead says, congrats to your friend Larry getting married on Wednesday. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, mazel.
The great Jim Mole, who's a tremendous guy.
Mole, like the delicious sauce.
Yes, and Mole also has given me $100 tip for every 1,000. Every time we get to 1,000, he drops a C note in the chat. How about that? That's
very nice. Very nice. We have a very generous chatter on my end too. His name is Rob C. We call him Rob C Note, and he only sprinkles in 3 figures. He only tips hundreds. Never a 10, never a 20. Rob C Note, the real deal.
G.I. Jones says, F Damon Bruce, quoting Grant, He says, please discuss. I don't know. Let's not get into that.
Well, no. So I'm here. Here's
what is he quoting you saying that Grant said that to you?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I said let's not get into that because I have no idea either.
No, so I saw that Grant Cohn thinks he invented the phrase "what went right, what went wrong," because it's really. I think I titled a training camp video from that. I didn't even title it. The guy who does my videos for me and edits them together, he titles the video. He did the thumbnail. And I think that really ruffled Grant's
good and bad of camp. You stole Grant's good and bad of camp. Is that what happened?
First of all, I wouldn't know what Grant did because I don't consume a millisecond of him. I think he doesn't know what football is. He has no clue what he's even looking at. So I don't consume Grant. I don't think about him. I have no knowledge of his channel at all. And if there's anything that was similar, I didn't write it.
We got this one from God Bless America, $1.99. He says, F Damon Bruce, subscriber, buyer, clown. Okay.
Yeah. So I've never bought a subscriber in my life. I wouldn't even know how to. I've been on the radio for 20 fucking years. I have more broadcasting integrity than someone who's going to buy an audience. Things are going great. I got 22,000 subscribers plus. Not bad for a year plus in. I haven't bought any subscribers. Look at it this way. If I
will say this, though, I do know of people who have bought subscribers.
I was buying subscribers. Do you think I would stop at 22,000?
I don't know. Everybody's got a different mentality.
If I
won't accuse anybody, but I'll say this: it doesn't. You can cheat, but it doesn't help. It doesn't.
I don't even know how to sign up for email. I lose my password every day. I am not. I wouldn't buy a subscriber.
I know people who have. So obviously somebody's out there doing it.
By the way, I know that 95.7 The Game certainly did. 95.7 The Game just added 30,000 subscribers in like the last month. In the deadest period, they went from like 50,000 to 80,000, and none of their views on their videos have exploded or anything like that. That's a channel that's buying subscribers for sure. Because if you're going to add 30,000 subscribers in a short amount of time, something massive happened that had the entire world looking at you. And that happened with football season not being on, with the Warriors being out of the playoffs.
We get it. Kids, don't buy subscribers. Don't buy subscribers. James Foster says, "Wake up after dark." All right, D. Bruce. I don't know what that is either.
Yeah, no, that's why I titled my thumbnail. Well, "Wake up after dark."
Gotcha. Let's see. We got a couple more here down at the bottom. Terradome in the house. Terradome, good to see you. Haven't seen Terradome in a while. Where is Larry Bangladesh?
Who is Larry Bangladesh?
I don't know. Steve-O says Larry, the last YouTuber with wired earbuds. Okay, can I give you why I have wired earbuds?
Wait, Grant called me a washed up disc jockey.
Whatever.
What an angry little man.
Whatever.
I mean, dude, his father was a cunt. And
all right. Okay. All right. I have wired earbuds because my wife is a believer that the wireless earbuds are somehow not good for you. That like somehow it's going to ruin what's between my ears. I told her, I said, I don't have anything between my ears. There's nothing for me to ruin. So there you go. But yeah, if you're saying, why do I wear wired earbuds? I have wireless earbuds. I do actually have them.
If wireless earbuds
believes that they're somehow dangerous.
I love Amy. She's wrong. They're not dangerous. I think we've had enough people wearing.
You gotta know when to fight. You gotta know when. The old saying, you gotta know when to fight your battles.
If this is a pick and choose battles, you're fine.
There's other things that you'd be surprised the things that I've gained from not.
Why don't you wear a pair of headphones like a washed up disc jockey?
I don't like the headphones either. And turn them backwards. Like, see, instead of this way, that way. I used to wear them that way pretty much.
No,
I always wore them.
Now you're trying. There's no way to make headphones look cool.
No, it wasn't cool. You know what it was?
Cool.
You know what I didn't like was I didn't like the bar that went across the top of my head. I didn't like that. And then because then I would get like hat head, which is a line going across my head, which I didn't love. But I kind of like the earbuds. I kind of like the, as far as I don't like the other thing is, my studio's in like my garage, it gets hot. So, you get sweaty ears. That's bad. Sweaty ears are bad.
Okay. You know what you need? You know who's got the best headphone situation out there is our friend, Guy Haberman.
What is he?
Guy Haberman's got the TV earpiece that's probably like they probably molded his ear because he's like really in TV. So he's probably got this really nice earpiece and he puts it in and you can't even see it. There's a guy. He's using his TV background right there to out earpiece all of us. So congratulations to Guy Haberman and his earpiece domination.
You're talking about a guy who's the newest broadcaster in the Big Ten network.
You know what that means? They're going to send his poor ass to Bloomington because that's where every new guy on Big Ten starts. So I'm going to have an insider. I'm going to want Guy Haberman to give me a shout out during an IU game on Big Ten Network. I'm going to talk to him about it, get him on the channel soon. But yeah, he's going to Bloomington. All new guys on Big Ten Network, you get short end of the stick. That means we'll see you in Indiana. Look, and word is, and I've heard this before, I'm not going to buy it until I see it, but word is, you got a better team than usual. Coach Signetti's got him ready to play, Larry. He's a winner. Google him.
Underrated program. Blood Moon says, love Larry, love Bruce, love Wake Up. Fuck Farhan, SMH. With a PH.
With a PH. I like it.
That's real anger. When you're saying F you, but it's really a PHU, you mean business.
All right, man.
That's going to do it for us. Hey, this is going to be a weird couple days because tomorrow I will be at the Giants game. So I probably won't be doing my normal stream with Raj. I got to reach out to Raj, tell him I can't do Tuesday night. Wednesday morning.
Sean Turner's so right. He says, if we're talking IU football, we've run out of material. Yeah, no, it's the end of the show.
Yeah. Anytime you're talking IU football, it's never.
It's not good for anybody.
The end is near. The end is near. It's like that. It's like that plant that grows in the desert when everything around it is dead. I call it. It's like some sports talk radio callers. The blankety blank, the astrologer. The sports talk caller that comes out of nowhere when all other sports talk callers evaporate. It's the same kind of thing. Same kind of concept.
Appreciate the loyalty.
There you go. But anyway, so tomorrow night I'll be I'm gonna hit a little Giants. Is it Giants A's? What do we got tomorrow night?
Oh, it's Giants A's. It's the
Giants
last
A's.
favorite series. It's not even a series though. It's a set. 2 games against the A's at 24 Willie Mays Plaza, and then the final 2 games against the A's is about 20 days from now in Oakland.
So I'll be going to the Giants game tomorrow night. Then Wednesday, I've got something going on in the city in the morning, and then I won't be able to go to camp because then my buddy's getting married Wednesday night. So Wednesday night I'll be at the wedding with my wife. And then anyway, we'll be doing a bunch of stuff I'll be at camp the rest of the week. I'll be there Thursday. There's no camp on Friday. I'll be there Saturday. I'll be there Sunday. So anyway, I do full videos, recaps, breakdowns of every day of camp. Hope you're enjoying the content. Like and subscribe over here. Like and subscribe over at Damon's channel. And look for us on Friday, coming at you for a little wake up come Friday.
Boom.
Little break, little off day from camp. And the second pod, they go 4 days on, 1 day off. So they went 4 days on, they had 1 day off. They'll go 4 more days. We'll join you on Friday, and we'll break it all down. The first 8 days of camp we'll break down on Friday. But that's going to do it for us. Damon, I'll give you final word. Go for it.
That's it. Thank you, good people. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe to both channels. Go a step further. Hit notify. That way you won't miss a thing when Larry and I go live together independently. And again, we don't care what channel you're watching on. Thank you for stopping on by. Wake up late night Monday. I'm going to go catch I've been taping Olympics in prime time. I'm going to go watch some incredibly athletic gymnastics flip all around and do stuff that there's no chance I could do it. So I'm going to go watch that. And if somebody makes a mistake,
one thing about those girls, they never tear. They never tear their ACL. I mean, they'll be on the beam. They'll be on the horse. They'll be on the rings. I'll say to myself, hey, Trent Baalke, I wonder if you could do that shit. And then I think to myself, I could never do it. And I wrote down in an envelope one time, Damon said, Trent, are you going to the Olympics? I said, Nagano. Whether you like it or not, Nagano.